Welcome to The Quick Fix, a series that gives you wellness tips that are founded in research and that are practical and easy to apply in your life right now. These are short episodes that focus on all aspects of wellness: physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, financial, professional, and personal. The goal is to help you and I to live lives that are healthy and soaked with meaning and purpose. So let's get going. Hello, welcome to this episode on why men struggle to seek help and how do we support them. If you're a woman listening to this episode, first of all, a very big thank you. You know all this intuitively. You've always known this, that men struggle to seek help. Whether it is in their personal space or in their professional space, they find it difficult to reach out to their spouse or partner or to a close friend or even work with a life coach or counselor. If you're a man listening to this episode, a very big thank you. And you've probably disagreed with everything that I've just said. So in today's episode, let's talk a bit about why men find it difficult to reach out when they need help and what one can do to support them. As a man, you can use this to help yourself first, and then maybe a friend or a relative or a colleague. And as a woman, the best you can do is to have some more tea and coffee and just keep nodding right through this conversation. Just kidding. As a woman, I believe there are some important insights for you in today's episode. So, on a more serious note, today's episode and a follow-up one coming soon will support men to understand what we're going through and find the inspiration to take appropriate steps to move ahead. So, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so and share this episode with all the men that you know. Well, why do men find it hard to seek help? And I mean real help. I don't mean seek help to decide which beer to drink or which car to buy. We're probably very good with that. But to seek help at 4 critical times in our life. 4 critical times. The first one is when we have to manage a challenging transition. This could mean when one has got a new promotion or moving company, shifting to a new location, new role, or being passed over for promotion, working with a boss who is a junior, being shifted to a dead-end project or job, and so on. These are all challenging transitions that we all face. And in the personal space, when one is getting married or becoming a father or getting out of a relationship or separation or divorce and so on. These are all challenging transitions that all of us go through, but the way it impacts men is unique. And that's what we want to talk about. So the second critical time when men really find it difficult and they really struggle is when dealing with role conflicts. So the first one was managing challenging transitions. The second one is dealing with role conflicts. And this could include differences with a boss or a team member about expectations or standards or who should do what. It could be a conflict with the spouse or with teenage children or with the parents. The third time that men really struggle is when they cope with personal loss. This could mean the death of a loved one or losing one's job, loss of the support of friends and family if one has to relocate, loss of good health to lifestyle disease such as diabetes or something more serious such as cancer. It could also be a loss of a relationship to divorce or breakup. So this is when men have to cope with a personal loss. And lastly, number 4, when there is a deficit in the way we are or the way we manage our relationships. For example, a man may be shy, lacking in confidence, not very assertive, socially awkward, or just not emotionally intelligent. So, 4 times when men typically need a lot of help, but they find it hard to seek help. So the 4 times are when they're managing a challenging transition or dealing with role conflicts, coping with personal loss, or when there is a lack in the way a man manages his relationships. So, these are four situations that happen in each person's life, yet men would rather struggle on their own and go through distress, confusion, pain, anxiety, rather than seek help from their own wife or partner or from a life coach or counselor. The irony is that even in cases where the organization may provide a coach, men are very resistant to be open and seek support. So many just go through the facade of following the process but never really discuss the issues that are causing them pain. And there is a price then that men have to pay for this reluctance or inability to share or seek help. Research states that men in distress tend to drink more alcohol, use drugs, take risky sexual decisions, experience loneliness, and decreased satisfaction in so many areas of life. At times, such men get into higher social conflicts with team members, peers, and people at home, taking this vicious cycle to a higher intensity level. So, why does this happen, especially with men? Why do men find it so difficult to seek help and support when they need it? When they need it? Well, studies from masculinity ideology, there's a big word for you, and gender role theory provide insights. In simple terms, men are socialized right from childhood to adhere to a persona in which they are supposed to be tough and strong and not show emotion or not show fear and, of course, not fail. They are taught to be self-dependent and independent, and seeking help is just equal to admitting failure. And this persona of a very successful, high achieving, powerful alpha male. The fact is, it is false, but it's envied by the world and all the rest of us men. And the truth is that these men often struggle, these alpha male men often struggle with relationship issues, battle feelings of loneliness, find it hard to find meaning and purpose, and have a deep fatigue within. Now, I do not mean to suggest all men are like this, certainly not you, so don't switch me off yet. There is a spectrum of men ranging from those who believe in this strong macho, even if they don't know it or say otherwise, all the way to those who are more open to being vulnerable and happy to seek support when needed. So I'm certainly not condemning all men, but you decide where most of them are on the spectrum or most of them tend to be. Another belief that limits men is this perceived stigma attached to needing or asking for emotional or psychological support. A man would be seen as not being capable or not being up to the mark in terms of leadership qualities or just plain weak. And no man wants to be seen like this, not in the eyes of others or his loved ones or even himself. So if you and I, as this man's friend, colleague, spouse, partner, understand how fragile this male psyche is and how it can put the man in a catch-22, in a bind, then we can be more sensitive in the way we support him. How can we support him? Let's start with things that may not be very helpful. And one of the things that may not be very helpful because it can trigger these false beliefs or insecurities include trying to sell the idea of getting help. Sell the idea of getting help. Why don't you get some help? Why don't you talk to this? Why don't you do that? Remember, no man wants help. We can do this ourselves. Even if you bully or encourage him to get help by working with a professional coach or counselor, that relationship is possibly sabotaged already. He's likely to resist it. So, what would be a better way? A better way would be to encourage the man to engage with a coach or reach out to a mentor or his own leader who would be in a position position to support him, or package the need for help in a way that it supports them to achieve their goals or to get clarity on their values and beliefs. The objective will be the same, but the packaging is very different. So one can point to the fact that nearly all successful men in all walks of life work with a coach or mentor. And I have found that rather than use the word coach or a counselor, most men resonate with the word mentor. Somehow they find that mentor is more aligned to their persona and it doesn't have this element of seeking help. So why not use this word mentor so that you can help them connect with this word and help them get the support that they need? So use the word mentor. It will help build safety and security for the man to reach out to the appropriate person for support, perhaps a boss or a friend or a coach. The next thing that's important to remember is that it's very critical to be patient with the man and not jump directly to reorienting their belief system, but to meet them where they are and then take baby steps from there. One good hack to work with these alpha types is to start the discussion on where the organization needs help or where the organization needs to improve or where their team members need development support and help. And then once trust is established, he will feel safe to talk about his own needs. It's very unlikely that he will feel safe to talk about his needs when he does not trust you. And a good way, a non-threat way, a safe way to start talking about these things is to talk about the needs of those in his team, because remember, it will appeal to his macho persona. So for men going through transitions in their personal space, it's important that we see that they don't withdraw into social isolation, because withdrawing into social isolation is something which is so easy for the man to do. So make a special effort to keep him connected into social events. They may say no or reject it, but you reach out and see if you can keep them involved or take the event to the person. And as a wife or partner, if you find your man going into his shell, be patient and create safety for him and create space for him to come out of his shell. Don't force your way in or stand outside the shell waiting to smack him on the head with advice. And sometimes with repeated advice and repeated advice and repeated advice. In love, of course. There's another word for that ongoing, continual, repeating advice, which I don't think it's fair to use that word right now. Anyway, let's move on. So, some final tips to support a man. If you are a coach or a mentor or influencer, some of these tips would be helpful to support a man during the transitions, the 4 transitions that we discussed earlier. In times of loss, help the man with the grief process. Help him deal with the feelings of anger and encourage forgiveness where appropriate, or help him deal with the fear now of being alone. All of us fear being alone, but no man likes to admit it, and possibly men are the most afraid of being alone. That's in terms of times of loss. In role disputes, help him with the conflict or through the conflict resolution. Teach him how to deal with conflicts or teach him coping skills. Provide support to make the best of a difficult situation. In challenging transitions, diffuse the man's feeling of being overwhelmed. Help him develop supportive networks and show him the new skills he needs to learn. That's in challenging transitions. And for the areas that he lacks or is weak in, point out blind spots, explore more adaptive behaviors, and show him better ways to deal with the situation. So let's bring our episode to a close today. We said that we'd try and understand why men find it so difficult to seek help or support, especially in transitions that all of us go through. Men find it the most difficult to seek help or support. The reality is that when faced with difficult situations and challenges, men struggle if they have to ask for support or ask for help. They're just not able to do that. Why? Because most times a man is not as emotionally intelligent as he thinks he is, and he struggles because of his programmed ideas of what a man should be, the real man. And this is very risky because it can lead to unhelpful consequences. As his friend or partner or spouse, you can support the man in your life or circle of influence by adapting some of these tips presented in this episode. If you found this episode helpful, please do share it with someone you care about. Talk to you soon. And that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Please connect with us on coachtoolbox@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow, subscribe, and review this channel. Details of our ICF-approved coach training programs and our services as executive coaches and coaching supervisors are on www.globalcoachtrust.org. See you in our next session.